Everybody experienced PTSD to a larger extent or smaller extent, or greater or lesser extent. Mine was, still is, loud noises, bangs, train couplings. I mean, when you go skiing, there's avalanche cannons, that type of thing. Other people had more of a, maybe call it more of a psychoses. I'm not a psychologist, but it bothered them more. I mean, they would have flashbacks, and they would have a difficult time adjusting to back to civilian life. That they couldn't do that. I mean, everything was so weirded out for them that they couldn't do that. So that's been my experience. Like, you can have, they're all over the place, from on the continuum from really very mild to like really whacked out kind of stuff, depending on what they saw. I mean, I didn't see people blowing up. It was just the noises for me, and for other people, not even that. So, yeah, that's been my experience in it. More so there. I mean, and that had to do with fear, I think, not so much PTSD, because we were in it, so it's not post-traumatic. It was, I mean, we're still in that. Really, there wasn't a lot of people that came to me afterwards. Number one, I think, because people don't want to admit that they have some issues, because if they do admit it, then they're getting treated for it, and like our society says, we're accepting of mental health as a disease like any other disease, when in my opinion we're not. Because if you get labeled with that, then people treat you like you have an infection or something. They don't want anything to do with you. They don't want to hire you. Well, let's see, we got these two people, yeah, but he or she's being treated for PTSD, so maybe we don't want to go that route. So yeah, that's kind of the deal on that.
What did you moment?
In the moment?
Yeah.
That I was scared too. I mean, they would come to Heath Chapel and I'm scared. Oh, yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
But we all are, and that's a natural thing. If somebody tells you they're not when you're being shot at, I think they're either fooling themselves or they're lying to you. One of the two. Yeah, it's not. That's just not factual. I mean, nobody's the movie guy that stands up there and charge whatever. It's okay. We got to do this, guys. Let's do the best we can and move on. Kind of take a deep breath, but we're jumping in. So yeah, more in the moment that for me that people were expressing their fear and fear of. I suppose the bottom line would be fear of dying. Courage is not the absence of fear, as somebody said. It's the ability to face your fear and still operate within that fear. So we have a lot of people that are courageous, who still suffer from PTSD, who were able to, though, still function in that moment. Yeah, what my job was, what my focus was, is to help families with the redeployment. We call them redeployment briefings, because you deployed and you redeployed. I mean, it's an Army acronym. It's redeployment. You come back home, basically, and to make sure that the families, because the family, let me back up, the families understood some of what the soldiers were going through over the year that they were 13 months that they were in combat. First of all, the soldiers got redeployment briefings. I mean, we got them in country. Okay, so we had that heads up, and my job was to come back home and make sure that the families had the same opportunity to know what was expected, or what maybe to expect when people got home. Not only separation wise, because we're all separated from family for 12 or 13 months, but also because we were in a completely different environment for those 12 or 13 months, it's not just being away someplace. It was all these things that happened over there. So one of the main emphases was to maybe give a heads up to families that, you know, their soldier, their loved one's going to be a little different. Not weird, but we experience different things. I mean, so might be kind of hypersensitive, or might like to party a lot, or we're distant at times, and jumpy and what have you. So that's part of it. You know, that's part of the redeployment. So to be aware of that, so not to say, this person's changed so much that I can't be in a relationship with them anymore, but to give it time so we can work through that together. And to let the soldiers know too, that's part of what we got, is that our families, things have changed in our families as well. I mean, kids grow up, spouses who maybe didn't do anything, not do anything, but maybe weren't involved in a lot of things before, had to do things. You know, they got the car fixed, they got the lawn mowed, they kept the water heater going and had the roof shingled when it needed to be and all that stuff, so that we didn't jump right back in and start taking charge again, because they were already in charge. So again, it's a blending of you know, how people change over a year, and to make sure that we can mesh better.
And then
I think if you see it, to ask them, I think that's fair. I mean, it's being open and honest, and ask them if they, first of all, if they've had combat experience. I mean, some of that's going to be obvious if you're working with people with missing limbs still. That would be obvious, but to know too that they've been through something that you're not going to experience, and there's not a lot of experienced people who have been riding in a motor vehicle and then had it blow up on them and lost their legs. I mean, that's something that even a school trained PT probably hasn't gone through. But to be sensitive to that and know that it's a psychological part of that, an element as well as the physical. I mean, you can do the physical, and they'll do the physical, but it's also making sure that they can. I'm sure you've taken classes in that, but to make sure that you're aware of the psychological component to that too.